In a recent column for English Daily, a member of the Economic Advisory Council to the PM, Shamika Ravi, indicated some major gaps in the quality of data in Indian surveys, pointing out the data quality of the National Sample Survey, National Family Health Survey, and the Periodic Labour Force Survey. She said the sampling methodology is outdated and needs an overhaul to reflect India's true economic status. Referring to the estimated rural population of India and the response rate of the sampled subjects, Ravi said the current sampling methods are not adaptive to the rapidly changing rural-urban dynamics. Soon after her observation, former Chief Statistician Pranab Sen responded, arguing that discrepancy in the estimation of the rural and urban population is an outcome of differences in the definitions of urban areas in the census and the surveys. The response rate of the sample is another area of concern in the sampling process, says Ravi. The rate of response to the survey increases with households with higher incomes, while lower income households usually avoid responding to such surveys. Not considering these discrepancies often lead to misleading estimates. Citing the example of survey methods from the US, Sen responded that such errors cannot be corrected and can only be replaced with more responsive people. Ravi is not the only critique of India's statistical system. All three members of the Economic Advisory Council to the PM, including her, Chairman Vivek Debroy and Sanjeev Sanyal, have voiced their concerns. Debroy has called for a systemic overhaul, adding that there is little expertise in the survey design. Earlier, independent journalist Pramit Bhattacharya, who published a paper titled India's Statistical System, Past, Present and Future, had also pointed out essential issues such as the perceived lack of independence of the NSO and instances of the government wanting to control the data narrative, among others. The observation has prompted the government into action. The Standing Committee on Economic Statistics, or the SCES, constituted in December 2019, has been turned into the Standing Committee on Statistics. It will be chaired by Pranab Sen, who also headed the earlier SCES. The committee has been tasked to review the existing framework and results of all surveys brought before it by the Ministry of Statistics and program implementation and address the issues raised so far. But is the committee a final solution?
The question is, what is the change that is required? Is there a change that's required in the methodology, or the kind of questions that are asked, or the way it is disseminated, or the kind of access that is available to the researchers? So I think these are all issues which will vary depending on who is asking the question, depending on what kind of problem that is there. We have to come to an agreement to those issues. Then only we can go ahead about talking about what kind of a change is required.
Then, is a complete systemic overhaul the need of the hour?
India's survey methods need updating rather than a total revamp. We had a good system in place, a system that was, time tested, well experimented with, and so on. The problem was that over time, we have let the whole system deteriorate. More importantly, there has been great advances in the international thinking on how to conduct survey. They have become more technology enabled. So the structure that we had is a sound structure. I'd see it as sort of an incremental upgradation rather than a drastic revamp.
And what should be the right approach for course correcting India's survey systems?
Statistics is too important to be left just to statisticians. What we need is an interdisciplinary approach to developing questions. Who are our appropriate respondents? How to ask the questions? How do we do quality monitoring given the new technologies that are evolving? So I'd like to suggest that what we need is actually some sort of an institute which is devoted to research methodology and brings in interdisciplinary approaches that government needs to set up. The other thing that we need to do is we need to substantially increase the funding allocated to institutions like MOSPI.
We would like the system to be comparable over time, over a period of time. also to be consistent with international comparisons. So we need to be very careful about bringing in more stakeholders, making it as broad-based as possible, and making the data as transparent and open and accessible to a common researcher, a student, an academic, and even journalist. So I think we need to ensure that any changes in the statistical system that is brought in should be basically spearheaded by the National Statistical Commission. It should be given enough teeth, it should be given enough statutory power, and it should be given autonomy and independence to undertake that exercise.
Experts agree that the statistical surveys of India need necessary updates. However, rather than a complete systemic overhaul, these updates need to be gradual and structured. Most importantly, the data collection and dissemination should be made transparent and engage both the government and other stakeholders.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
She's working her way to the corner office. Business Standard.